What it do, everybody? It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon. It's your boy King Crowder, checking back in with another edition of a book review I think everybody should add to their collection and read. This one right here is coming from the author Napoleon Hill. We may know him best for the Think and Grow Rich series, but the one that I'm going over right now is called Outwitting the Devil. The reason why this book is so powerful, and I think everybody should read it, it speaks on real world events and how the world works. Napoleon Hill was definitely a famous author back in the 19th century. His most famous book is Think and Grow Rich, and it justifies and goes over the successful people that we may meet in life. And he was very much a forward, innovative thinker on how resistance and how we deal with things determines our outcome. You know, there was no such thing as you determine which way you're going to go. But his philosophy was one that sparked all the speakers we may hear now, the Eric Thomases, the Tony Robbinsons, and people like that, Uncle Ike. All of that foundational thinking came from this gentleman, rooted from him, because he sparked it. The one thing I would say, this book is about 300 pages or less. Not a bad read, very light, very easy read, not as hard information. One thing I noticed immediately is how the way he communicates in simple language. One thing I always notice, especially when you're writing or when you're explaining stuff, simplicity is the most truest form of understanding what you're saying. If you have to use a lot of big words to speak over people's heads or breaking it down, the ability to break down the information to simplest terms is how you really know you grasp and understand the concept. So if I have to use certain lingo or certain words, if everybody does not understand me, I am not a great communicator. To be a great communicator, you must know how to break down everything simply and accurately. The first thing I think that was really important about this book was it mentioned the devil in terms of people you deal with. We think of the devil as certain outlandish people, but what it's showing in this language is that we meet him on a daily basis all the time. For example, temptation to eat wrong, temptation to not work out, temptation to not do what you're supposed to be doing in that very moment. That is a form of the devil meeting you in action. I never thought about it in that kind of way of thinking, but it was like, oh, wow. So that is perceived as the devil in our daily life. Temptation of attitude, temptation of different spirits. Knowing how to maneuver and handle that sets apart a lot of different people. Temptation is the first form of the devil. The second thing I noticed is that drifting away from exercises and habits. You know, whenever you start something, you're always strong and happy-go-lucky about it, and you have a strong passion, desire about it. When the devil gets you, you drift away from it little by little. So when you make a mistake or you're not as good as you want to be, you tend to drift away from that consistency, that personality, that enthusiasm, that energy you first had towards it. That is a little bit of that devil on your shoulder, causing you to drift back from that because you're not as persistent and strong as you once were. That is the number two thing that I took away from the book. The number third thing I took away from it is that we get confused on what education truly is. Education is not going to school. I'm a guy that's currently in grad school, going to be a doctor one day. That is not education. Education is through experiences and life channel situation. For example, if I'm a truly educated person on life in general, being a student on how the world works, I will learn that certain tones and certain words that I use will get more reaction out of people than not. You can be an educated person, but if you don't know how to travel all the way down in levels and communication styles who you deal with, are you really a truly educated person? That concept the devil gets at is that you have a lot of people that go through certain ways of life who cannot go to multiple levels. That is one of the weaknesses the devil speaks to you at. If you're not a truly educated person and you never had more aspirations, you have trouble working with people ahead of you. That's when the jealousy, the envying things start. And when you're a person that was born in a higher level, that never had to go through the bottom phases in life, you tend to struggle with people who do not have the same aspiration as you. The reason why that statement was so powerful, using myself as an example, I can say I came from a more of an impoverished background, small town, but me working my way up to where I currently am right now, which is not where I want to be, I can see how being in each one of those worlds has helped me along the way. Small towns have taught me how the small town problems will interact and you notice it. Being in a college level style, a medium-sized city, I can see how that works. Being in a large metropolitan city like a DC or Philly or Dallas or Houston, now I can visually see the big city problems of how that closed-mindedness to the rest of the world works and how it operates, and how the devil can target you right there because you do not know how to empathize or look at things from an important perspective. The only core question I would have about this quote, and I would say this book can be a little bit outdated as far as some of the terminology and things, just based on social media and how we can communicate with each other in real time. It's a little bit outdated as far as that. But the information that he gives on rhythm, about finding your purpose, and about how to deal with people is the most strongest skill set I would have in it. Because I think the only way you're going to be truly successful in anything in life is you must learn to deal, handle, and work with people. Period. If you don't know how to do that, you will have a ceiling and a cap on your life. Outwitting the devil goes into breakdown of that. You have to learn how to outwit all your shortcomings and issues the devil may throw at you. And if you're not aware of them, how will you be able to move past them? Phenomenal. Great read, short, very user-friendly. You don't have to look up a lot of things in it. I would definitely add that to your collection just to mentally get yourself on it, so when you're seeing yourself drifting away or the devil approaching you, you know how to flee them off for you. You know, give them a stiff arm or something. I definitely think that's important. Want to give y'all a short video on what was important this week, baby. Chopping it up. That's one I added to my list. I read about 2 weeks ago, but I definitely think it was important. Read, baby. Study. Work on your mind. Remember, as I said, reference in the last book, Man's Search for Meaning. Your mind is a muscle, baby. How often are you working it? We run, we eat, we do these things, but do you work your mind? All right, man. Checking out. Peace.